What's going on, guys? So I have kind of an interesting project I'm working on. I was kind of looking to get some tracks for the trx4m, and I'm really not sure. I really didn't look too hard if they have a specific set of tracks for these. But anyways, I stumbled upon these. These were on Amazon. They came across as 1/18th scale tracks for truck. Well, this is the truck they're for. It's like some kind of toy grade Amazon RC. Yeah. Well, I get these tracks and they were like, I want to say they're around $30 for the whole set. They have like a spline hub here that these attach to. So I am in the process of modifying them to work on the trx4m. Now, I probably already said this, but they don't really, they're not really the right scale. But to test them out, I'm going to give it a go. So let me walk you through the process of how I got this to work on this even, and we'll go from there. So if you kind of look behind here, if you can kind of see, we had to do some surgery here to get this to articulate correctly on the truck, because you kind of take the flair of having a track away if you can't get it to articulate like this. So let me grab one of the stock ones and I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so first things first, what we have to do here, this track just very simply, the rubber just very simply comes right off. In here, there's a screw here, there's a screw here. This kind of holds the whole assembly together. After you get this part off, you can pull this idler gear out, the sprocket, and you can really see where this actually mounts to the wheel hub. And this is very simple to modify. So I'll take you through the process on how to modify this to get this to work with the Traxxas hubs. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to cut a part of this sprocket off. What this is going to do is allow us to mount this to the Traxxas trx4m without binding the drivetrain. You don't need to take off much, just a few millimeters. All right, so now that we have this track sprocket taken off, what we're going to do is modify this hub internally to fit the hex drive from this Traxxas. So with just a little bit of grinding, we're able to take that spline out from the middle of this hex, and it's the same size hex within the spline as the Traxxas hub on the trx4m. And then you can just simply, install this like you would any wheel on an RC. All right. So this is how far we are, and then you can install your wheel nut over that. There's not much sticking out, but it's enough. So now, onto this portion. You can kind of see there's like a little nipple sticking out through here. Here's the front of your track. So now what we kind of have to do, and I did it on the last one, is you just kind of hog this out a little bit so you can get your wheel nut wrench down inside that, so you don't have to take this track apart to get it on and off the RC. And then I'm going to simply use this hole as a guide. I got that plunged through. This little nipple will pop right out now. Oh, hold on, I just need to... Alright, see? That little nipple comes right out. And then you can simply just hog that out a little bit until you get enough clearance to get your nut driver in there. Alright. That ought to be good enough. So this is ready. So now with this part ready, the last step is we have to modify this piece. The reason why this piece needs to be modified is in order to get that articulation out of the track. Because, like I showed earlier, if you don't, there's clearance issues with the steering knuckle. So you just gotta hog all this upper part out and then do a little bit of cleanup here, a little bit of cleanup here, and this bottom piece here. So I'll give you a little before and after when I'm done. All right, so we got this piece pretty well modified. You can see where we started at, and this is where we ended. So we got rid of all this area here, all this area down here, and then we took away some of this here to clear the bearing carrier, steering knuckle, whatever you want to call it, to give that trx4m full range of motion with the steering. So I'll reassemble the track, get it all put back together, and I'll show you what it looks like on the truck. Alright guys, so we're ready to install this onto the front hub. You're just going to simply install it like you would a tire. Check for clearance issues. All right. Let's get our bolt in there, or our wheel nut. All right, guys. So I got both fronts on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle the back. And with these backs, I don't think I'm going to have to do as much modifications in this area. I think with the backs, I should just be able to modify the sprocket and the front of it. And it should work that way because there's nothing to interfere with the articulation of the track. So, like I said before, I'll open it up. We'll cut a little bit off of the hub area on the sprocket, hog a little bit of that out, and I'll get them mounted up to the back. Alright guys, so I plugged everything in, and We got steering. I have not ran this yet, so let's see how it works. All 4 tracks are on. Well, it moves. That's a good sign. Let me, let's go outside real quick, and I'll try it out in the snow. Question mark. Well, it's working. Oh. Oh, it's kind of dragging the one behind it. Well, we might have to get a fresh charge on the battery, but semi-successful test. All right, guys. So back in the shop. This was a, I don't know, semi-successful test. So I'm going to tell you, the tracks may be a little bit too much for this rig. I might have to gear down, maybe put a fresh charge on the battery or really test it. But for what I did with this today, I'm excited and I'm hopeful, because these little tracks that were not supposed to ever fit on this, with a few quick modifications, I was able to get them to not only fit, but function on this truck. So I'll do a little tinkering with it, and maybe we'll get a new video in the future with it. But you know how I am with follow-up videos. They don't always come quickly. So like I said, guys, we'll revisit this sooner than later. I'll tinker with it, and I'll see if I can perfect this. But as for now, I don't think I'd recommend doing this. If you want to try it, by all means, be my guest. But it's not something I would recommend just yet until I perfect it and really figure out how to make these the most effective they can be. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I feel like this is part of a hobby, or part of the hobby, that a lot of people have lost touch with, as far as modifying parts that really shouldn't work. There's so many readily available over the counter, off the shelf parts that a lot of people just buy because they're easy. This right here, this wasn't the easiest. It wasn't the hardest modification, but I had to use my brain. I had to use my brain and my hands to make it work, and that's what the hobby's all about, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your support. I'll catch you on the next one.